Okay. Oh, sorry about that sniffles. It's another Wednesday, which means it's another Wednesday walkie talkie. And even though it's quite sunny, it's blooming cold. Feels like an early winter's day, rather than a sort of early summer or late spring. Still in spring, aren't we? Anyway, it's time for another wander around here. I had to let my car go this morning. It's completely dead. It's been that way now for a couple of months. I've tried everything to bring it back to life. When the guy come to collect it, he stuck one of these like high-powered starter things, boosters, and it wouldn't start. The electrics have completely gone in the poor thing. So he was just sat rotting away. It wasn't going to go anywhere. I couldn't even get it to a garage anymore. It's an old car. It's done me well. But yeah, hopefully I can get another one sorted out. Pick up tomorrow. I've got one. Put a deposit on one. So we'll just hope that I can get that sorted. So anyway, we're not an automobile channel, that's for certain. We are a video game channel, and we chat about video games, so that's what we're going to do. And Sony decided to fill the void of doing incredibly stupid things. Microsoft seem to be getting their act together under the new leadership, thankfully. They seem to be seeing the light on things that's wrong. It might be a bit busy here today because I'm a bit later coming out because I had to wait for the guy to come and pick my car up, take it off to the scrapyard. So I'm a bit late coming out. Probably about an hour later, half an hour later than normal. So you'll have to forgive if you get other people's voices on here. It's either that or not do it. And I'm not doing it, so yeah. Yeah. Sony. Proving me right when I said the last thing you ever want Sony is to be in an unassailable position where they think they can do whatever they want. Because they've just come out with one of the most anti-consumer and anti-gaming ideas, or what word can I use to describe it? Idiotic, stupid, and ridiculous things ever. And for those of you that don't know, it's the unconfirmed, hello Robin, it's the unconfirmed but very real spectre of requiring you to log in on your console once every 30 days to validate your licenses for your digital games. Now, Sony haven't confirmed this, but there's a great number of people out there, and there's a goose just there where you probably can't see it. That's a missile thrush there, I'm not sure. But anyway, let's get on. Sony haven't confirmed it, neither have they come out and denied it as I make this video. And but yeah, essentially there is a requirement for you to have to log in to the PlayStation Network every 30 days. If you don't, then your digital games become inaccessible. So basically now they're taking away your ability to play games that you've bought and paid for. Now, currently this is only the digital distribution, but that's not to say that this won't spread to the physical media, because there's absolutely no reason why it can't. I mean, literally, you are at the mercy of this company providing you access. I've said this all along. This is the big problem. Online only. They can zap you. This is a huge problem. And this isn't this type of problem, by the way. We'll get back to Sony in a second. I just want to take an ADD tour here. I, a few years ago now, bought Star Wars Squadrons on PC through Steam. When I got it, it worked fine. I tested it out with a view to coming back and playing it at a later date. I got it because it's got a VR component to it. I have an Oculus 2 headset. Now, I've not really been able to play on the VR because of my sickness, being ill. It requires you to be a bit more active. And now post-surgery, I'm kind of getting a bit better. I thought I'd take my VR headset out for a whirl. My missus bought me Half-Life Alyx on Steam, and I set up the VR headset. I've been playing it. It's an amazing game. It's so good. So good. And I have some other VR games as well. But once I did the Steam VR link, I noticed there was a number of other games that I had installed that could also be played with VR. And Star Wars Squadrons was one of them. And I thought, oh yeah, I remember now. This is why I got it. Hello, squirrel. So I go to start the game. You start it through your VR headset, and it wouldn't start. It's coming back with an error, and I thought, oh, maybe I have to start it through Steam. You know, change some settings. Maybe there's an option to start it specifically in VR. Sometimes these things occur, so I backed out. And I went to start, because when you go to start the game in Steam, it gives you the option to play just the normal or VR version. So at that point, I'm thinking, oh, wonderful. That's why. Start the VR version, doesn't load. Okay. Back out again. Let's start the normal version, because that does work. Because I played it for about 45 minutes when I got it, just to see how it played on PC. Doesn't work. It just does the splash screen, the loading screen, and then it just stops loading and resets back to Steam. I was like, oh God, what's going on? First protocol is you go to the discussions in Steam, and lo and behold, the discussion forum is lit up with many people unable to get in the game anymore. People that were saying, hey, they bought the game, worked fine for a while, and then stopped working. And it's all tied into this anti-cheat thing that EA have put in. So they've changed something, whether they've no longer have a contract with that particular company. I think it was called Easy Cheat, something anyway, Easy Anti-Cheat. It's not the, is it de novo? It doesn't appear to be that. But it won't work, won't load. I've tried everything, and this game won't load. It worked fine when I bought it, and it was working on that same PC. So I know it's not my PC. So EA have done something that doesn't work with Steam, that Steam doesn't like. That renders this game completely unplayable. Now, I asked for a refund off Steam, even though I've had it for a couple of years. I don't have the 2 hours in the game. And I cited the reason. Look, you've done something that's broken this game. This game worked fine. Something's changed. Nobody's bothered to do an update. And now I can't play it. I want my money back. I haven't done anything. I haven't changed anything. The forums are completely ridden with people complaining about this. So I want my money back. That's fair. This is a common problem. This is a known issue which hasn't been resolved. I want my money back. And they refused. So right now, Steam will be my last port of call. I'll only get stuff on there if I can't get it anywhere else. It dials into the whole thing I'm saying about digital-only content. They can stop you playing stuff. They can do that. They can take away your right to play games without any notice, any notification whatsoever. I have a game that was working fine, but because of the online element, I can no longer play it. And people just sleepwalk into this. And this is now what's going to happen with PlayStation. Because if they can stop you playing the game that you've bought, you've purchased fully, not part of the PlayStation Network or PlayStation Plus, you bought a game digitally, they can revoke your access to that game at any time. The concept of it being just, oh, we're going to revoke your access to the game because you haven't logged in for 30 days is merely a taste. It's a trial. They will be able to, if they can do that, then they can arbitrarily shut you off from playing a game that you've bought and paid for at any time, for any nebulous reason whatsoever. Back in 2013, when Microsoft tried to introduce a similar thing with the Xbox One when it launched, everybody kicked off about it. It's a bit like a sort of a Louisiana swampland, that, isn't it? You'd expect to see gators in there. I don't think there is any. It would be surprising if there were. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, this is exactly what we were kicking off about. Why that idea of needing a license authentication was rejected outright 13 years ago, that completely scuppered Xbox One. Xbox One struggled to recover, in spite of the console's abilities, he struggled to recover from that. Consumer confidence has been irrevocably damaged. And that has spilled over with the Series X. Series X is an amazing console. It's a really good piece of kit that has been criminally undersupported and hasn't done anywhere near the amount of business that it should have done, because they pissed the consumers off back in 2013. This thing sticks. Ask Sega. They annoyed people with the Saturn, and when the Dreamcast came out, which was undoubtedly an excellent games console, it was an amazing console, it didn't sell, and devs walked away from it simply because what they did with the Saturn when they cut short its lifespan, and when people didn't feel that they were getting a money's worth from it, they felt let down by Sega. Because don't forget, it wasn't just the Saturn, it was the whole business with the Mega CD and the 32X as well. People felt Sega were kind of clutching at straws. It did damage. And now Sony are doing their moment here, rather underhand. They're not coming out and saying, hey guys, this is the new thing now. They're just not saying anything, which is even worse. I find that remarkably underhand and downright disrespectful. It's treating the customers like idiots. If we don't say anything, they won't know. Let them just find out for themselves, at which point it's too late. They need their feet holding to the fire for this, more so than the kind of degrees of scrutiny that Microsoft had. Why should they get more? Because back in 2013, Sony went up on stage and made a big show about not doing what Microsoft were trying to do. Sony made a big deal about it. They mocked Microsoft. You know, they did the whole little skit with swapping games. They made a big thing about it not needing to be online all the time. They did all of that. They came across, they were the big I am. They got everybody cheering, chanting Sony, and doing all that stuff. And here they are doing the same damn thing. If it's even worse, at least Microsoft had the balls to go up on stage and tell everyone this is what they had planned. Sony have done this in the sneaky, underhand way that I said they would do. I said in my previous video, when people were celebrating the potential or would-be demise of Xbox, when Phil Spencer left and everyone was applauding what a wonderful thing it was, I said in the video, this is a bad thing, that you need them to be held accountable. You need accountability. And the only way you get that is through serious competition. As I said in that video, give Sony a free hand and watch what a complete shithouse of a company they are. They've done very, very anti-consumer things before. People have short memories, unfortunately. With the PlayStation 2, I don't know about the US, but here in Europe, if you connected to your television with the PlayStation 2, using an RGB SCART lead, when you went to play a DVD, it came up on the screen green. You couldn't watch DVDs to the best image quality on a standard definition TV as you could. Their feeble excuse was about piracy. What's that got to do with it? It had nothing to do with it at all. It was an absolute load of crap. It was so bad that I had to buy this thing, I think it was called DVD-X, which you put into the player before you put a DVD in. Then you had to take it out, and then you put a DVD in, and then it would actually play the film. The PlayStation 3, they were belligerent, insulting to the audience. They delivered an overpriced and essentially not partially underpowered, but most certainly a console that was not user-friendly at all. And then they did the usual, they stripped features out of it without really telling anyone. The backward compatibility of being able to play PS1 and PS2 games, the PS2 compatibility was dropped. That's it. I still have no idea what the hell they're building here. Well, they're building something. I don't know what. Be interesting to see what it's like when it's done. But anyway, yeah. They dropped features rather snidely. When they launched the PS3 Slim, it would no longer play PlayStation 2 games. They said it was cost-saving measures. The truth was that they wanted to sell you those PS2 games through the PlayStation Store. That's what they did. So, if the backward compatibility was an issue, why were you able to play PS2 games that you had to repurchase through the store? It was nonsense. They just switched off your ability to do it with physical media in the firmware. The Blu-ray discs, the Blu-ray drive that was inside the PS3 had already proven it could read PlayStation 2 discs. So it was entirely down to software, was the reason why they did that. Disgusting. They stripped features out that they used to sell the console to people. Since the PlayStation 1 era, the only time Sony did something that was not outrageously anti-consumer from the days of the original PlayStation, where they were trying to get everybody on board, was with the PS4, when they were desperate to try and win people back. When they saw that despite the red rings of death, the Xbox 360 caught them up, and in some territories had actually overtaken them. They panicked because consumers made a choice. Consumers back then, in the early 2000s, 2006, 2007, the PS3 come out, consumers made a choice that they would rather invest in a console that had questionable reliability over the new PlayStation 3. I had a PS3, it was all right. But the 360 was my main games machine of choice back in that generation. It had the best games, they played the best on there, they looked better on there. The only time you could say that the PS3 showed any of its so-called supreme power over the 360 was with some of its first-party games. But you had to wait for them and they were few and far between. Most of the time, when I bought multi-platform games, they were on the 360. Because for the vast majority of the time, they were superior. The PS4 was Sony doing what they should have always been doing, and they proved they could do, which was a console for the gamers. That was their motto, for the gamers. The fact that in the console space, they've pretty much had a clean run at the title because the Series X and Microsoft have floundered this generation, as for the reasons I've already mentioned. They're showing their true colours again. This is what Sony are. This is what Sony really are. What they were with the PS4 and the PS1, that's not who Sony are. This is what Sony is. This is what they represent. This right here. And it's up to the gamers to reject this. Stop buying games on PlayStation. Stop buying PlayStations. Stop buying PS Plus. You have to make a stand. Otherwise, they'll just keep doing this. Now, because they haven't officially announced this, they're doing what a lot of these sneaky, dirty little corporations do. Is they put something out there and then they try it out. And if it's rejected, it'll be quietly dropped. But you've got to reject it. You've got to make a stand. You've got to say, no, I'm not having this. You can sod right off. You have to push back. Being apathetic and just kicking back and pretending that it isn't as bad as what you think it is exactly how these companies get away with what they're trying to get away with. They're trying to take everything from you and sell it back to you piecemeal. And if you're blind enough to not see, to accept it, well then you deserve whatever you get. As I said, I warned you, I told you. Sony will turn to shithousery the first opportunity they get. And they didn't disappoint. They didn't disappoint. Push back. And if you choose not to, if you're happy with that, if it doesn't bother you, fine. Don't think that that's where the line in the sand is drawn though. They'll keep doing it until they'll introduce things that do affect you. But it'll be too late then. Look where the ball is going, not where it is. You nip things in the bud before they can grow. You don't wait for the weed to be 20 feet high before you pull it out of the ground. It's time for gamers to grow up and be responsible. If you claim to love video games and gaming, then you're going to have to pull your finger out your arses. And you're going to have to start making a stand. And you're going to have to start doing away with this fear of missing out and get a grip. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with a real crap industry, especially in the AAA space. And if you're okay with that, then fine. But don't be getting in complaining about people who aren't okay with it. That's for certain. If it don't bother you, keep your mouth shut. Stay out of it. And let people who it does bother them, people who are smart enough to see what this entails, people who are more worldly wise, and have a greater knowledge and appreciation and understanding about how these companies and corporations work. Let them run the narrative. Because I get sick and tired of seeing these people going out there and literally going to bat for corporations, defending them for doing some of the most ridiculous anti-consumer things known to mankind. I care about this hobby. I love video games. I've been playing them since they started. I've been gaming. And I'm not just going to sit quietly and watch it get dismantled by stupid, brainless, greedy, short-sighted, idiotic corporations. You fight back. We rule gaming. The gamers are gaming. It's our industry, not theirs. We decide what happens, not them. They do what we want, not the other way round. But you've got to get off your arses and you've got to do something about it. And stop sitting there being apathetic because you want to play the latest overrated AAA shitfest. Because you've seen one of your favourites on Twitch or on YouTube live streaming it and playing it. And I've got to do that because they do it. Even though it's crap. Even though you're supporting anti-consumer policies. Like, these games won't go away if you fight back. These companies will have to make money. If you stop buying it because of the reasons that you don't like their policies when it comes to distribution, then they'll stop. But you got to pull your finger out your arse. You can't just keep kicking the can down the road, because eventually you'll run out of road. And it's that simple. Anyway, that's enough about that. Needed to be said. Get a grip. Don't take for this shit. Hold them accountable. Hold them accountable. They'll cave. They always do. Look at Microsoft. Microsoft caved like a house of cards in an earthquake in 2013. 2 weeks after that at E3, they backtracked on everything they said they couldn't. They said they couldn't change anything because it was hard-coded into the software for the console. They'd have to completely redesign the console, they said. Lies. They backtracked everything 2 weeks after E3. And even when they said Kinect is hard-coded, it has to be, shortly after its launch, they dropped Kinect altogether. Kinect is not even a thing now outside of the paranormal investigators. So they lied. Strangely enough, a corporate that lies to people. So don't believe the bullshit that they say. Don't believe what some absolute weapon tells you online, some shill. That's not how it works. They put these things out there, they try it, and they put back doors in that enables them to get out of jail when it backfires. So, here endeth the lesson. Anyway, I'll do. I'm going to go off and enjoy the rest of this day, get this video edited and uploaded, and I will hopefully see you in a week's time. Thanks for watching.